Well, first I wanted to start off and just by thanking OurCrowd for getting this whole event together. It's really amazing to see just how many investors, employees, startups, big corporations, just all gathering together in the same place. So, really happy to be speaking here at the event. Before I get going, I just wanted to kind of let everybody know that I'm going to be asking a few questions just to keep the crowd engaged because this is a broad topic. And two, I'm going to be reading a lot, so if I don't look up, just please don't mind. A lot of jet lag and all that. So I wanted to focus the topic on human capital and the cost of building a business and growing in the U.S. Some of the topics we'll be covering are human capital, the new and kind of transformational HR aspect of the industry, the rise of outsourcing, and the future and beyond. So let's get into it.
You don't need to point it, just press the button.
Perfect. So human capital. Quick show of hands here. How many people in here are founder, co-founder, investor, just been with a startup? Great. Second question. How many of you who raised your hands would argue that the hardest thing besides running a business and being part of one is hiring and retaining great employees and top talent? Hold your hands up, please. And just look around the room real quick. So I would say that's 85% of the room has this issue. What does this basic survey tell us? Does it suggest people like to switch jobs? Maybe. Does it show that the competitive market to hire and retain smart people is really challenging? I'd say that's pretty accurate. The point I'm trying to make is that everyone who raises their hand struggles with the same aspect and is all searching for the same solution. In order to address this issue, we need to first define what human capital is. According to Google, the human capital definition is the skills, knowledge, and experience possessed by an individual viewed in terms of the value or cost to an organization or country. This is accurate, but I think we can all do better because it's different depending on who you talk to. So I took a survey from 3 people I respect in the business world, and this is what I came up with as a combination of all. Human capital is defined as the employees and your team that make your business run. They are your biggest investment a company makes and the ones that grow a business. They are the key to developing the technology, making the wheels turn, and can separate normal companies from the biggest and most successful corporations in the world. An organization is often said to only be as good as its people. I think we all agree that's pretty true. The best teams tend to win, whether it's in sports, whether it's in a restaurant, or just in a simple startup. Human capital is almost always the biggest expense of a company, and the cost of recruiting, hiring, training, and keeping key people is a tricky task and an expensive one. The company that learned to do these tricks and solve them early are usually the ones that survive and thrive. No employee wants to be at a company short term, or if that is their goal, then the leaders probably don't want them anyway. Leaders want a return on their investment, which is why money and time is used in recruiting and training, the topic of our discussion. And this is just a bit on psychology. One of the main keys for happiness in the work environment is constant learning and growth. I think the entire reason everybody in this room and all the 15,000 people here today are here is because we're all trying to learn something new, whether it's in a medical company or the people in this room are just trying to get a little better understanding on how can they make their business run more efficiently. I'm not saying constant change by any means, because I believe routine is a key trait of many successful people. I am simply stating that you and your team must constantly be learning, figuring out more efficient ways to get your product or service out, and bring on new technologies to keep a culture and growing environment. If you can follow just this one simple task, you will keep employees motivated, and it will keep them around and create a more driven, sustainable, and successful company. Now on to transformational HR. It's a new and hot topic. So what is transformational HR? By definition, again according to Google, transformational HR is the process of fundamentally rethinking and restructuring the HR function of a department or an organization. In simplest terms, though, I like to just say the digital workplace is evolving, and that includes the HR and back office teams. Technology has transformed the way employees work. The latest tools in AI, automation, targeted workflows have all increased channels for communication. If anybody was in the main room this morning, I'm sure they saw a quick example was the blood testing company. A simple change that goes from a 2-day process to now a 10-minute. Just something we all have to adapt to, especially in the medical space. These new technologies will provide back offices with enhanced business intelligence, meaning their time and resources can be used more productively, meaning business owners and their companies can get more done. People today want technologies across many fields to make our lives easier if possible. And a reason for these technologies is because generational demographics of the labor force are shifting. Baby boomers are starting to leave the workforce, while millennials, who make up the majority, are pretty much taking over the labor force. And millennials have a much different expectation compared to their previous generations before. This has pushed employers to adopt new technologies quicker and stay current, because all of these employees and my generation to the 45-year-old generation really wants the newest and greatest things, because whether it works or not, they think they're getting a better deal. This means HR and back offices are trying to lift the new balances and get the processes going, and just basically spending more money to try and figure out what works. And unfortunately, there isn't really a right choice when it comes to the HR back office team. This is why you really need to customize and see what your needs and fits are for your company. Here are a couple key things to focus on during this, so I'd maybe write these down. Employee engagement. It sounds exactly what it is. It is constantly engaging with your employees across all aspects of your business, whether it's just saying, hey, how are you? What can we improve in the marketing department? What can we do in the financial side? What can we do about getting our product from point A to point B quicker? Just little conversations. They will usually tell you exactly what you want to hear, whether it's a CFO, the point will get across, and I think most people in the department will have a similar reaction and will give a similar response, because the problem is usually universal. You'll save quite a bit of time and money on this process using this basic strategy. Point 2, why is the employee experience so important? Enhancing the employee experience is one of the best ways to increase productivity and boost engagement. Currently, a big percentage of employees struggle to get the information they need from their employers. Basically, this is just the supply chain or command chain where a CEO really wants this, and the person at the bottom doesn't really know what he wants. Case in point, we all struggle with this, whether it's with a spouse, a friend, they say, let's do this, and there's just a miscommunication and someone ends up mad. It can in turn delay and slow down your team, leading to a less productive team, which means less revenue, less deals closed, and products lost, potentially lost. Transformational HR and technology encourages an environment where it will allow easier communication and help combat the lack of between employees and employers. Third point, developing and training quality fees and managers and ROI. A better trained and engaged business makes the company more profitable. The technology will assist both heavily in these aspects. The AI, targeted workflows, and increased channels for communication will all translate to higher revenues, which means more profit. Everyone wins. It will also increase the margins on little parts of the business where you would be surprised where it even worked. To me, a dollar saved is a dollar earned, and the transformational HR will save many dollars for your business. Okay, let's be quick. The rise of outsourcing. So the age-old question, should I do it or should I outsource it? This question has been going on since the beginning of time. Think about your morning today. From the moment you woke up, I think most people in the audience had an alarm, they had a glass of water, something to drink, and they had something to eat. It was all outsourced. Nobody in this room went out and sourced their water today. Nobody went, I could be wrong, but nobody probably went and, got some fresh eggs or did any of that. So pretty basic, but I'm going to make the point now why these things in this business is really growing. It shows a huge percentage of our day and decisions are being outsourced to others who specialize in what we want. Most of the time, we want to deal with someone, something with someone who can do it better than us. We all go to a restaurant, we use Uber, different things like this. And the final thing is, why would you deal with the most difficult part of your business when you can outsource it? And to me, being in the financial and private equity space, I think this is one of the most challenging parts of any company. Hiring, firing, retaining, just dealing with everything. I'm going to try to skip ahead so I get everything in. I'll finish off on the opportunity cost of time. Ask any employer what one thing they wish they had more of, and almost always the universal answer is time. Sure, sales, revenue, profits, they're all amazing, but I think everybody really, what they desire most is time. When I meet or talk with business owners or employees, which is usually almost daily, and we discuss their current clients and their problems, they usually state this concern regularly. Whether it's, I just wish I could do this, I'm losing time. Let's do out some basic math. Let's say you lose 1 hour a day dealing with something in your company you don't know how to do, or you just have to deal with it, whether it's an employee who struggles with whatever, some family issues, and you just take your time to be a great employer. At 1 hour a day, that's 7 hours a week. Times that by 52, that's 364 hours, or 15 days a year, 2 weeks. Then times that by 10 years, that's 3,640 hours, or a little more than 151 days, or 5 days a month. I want everybody to think about that, and that's just 1 hour a day, whether we forget out the time we spend driving to work, commuting, or lunches, or just lost time, but time where we could really be efficient. And I'm going to conclude on that point because we have another speaker, but I just want to say that that's one of the reasons that these outsourcing companies, whether it's my company or just simple companies in other spaces, are becoming more and more prevalent in the space. So thank you for your time.